In the recent Social Weather Stations or SWS survey, Vice President Leni Robredo was given a good satisfaction rating despite the 12-point steep decline from positive 49 to positive 37 points. According to the survey results, 58% of the respondents were satisfied with VP Robredo's performance and 21% of them were dissatisfied, while 20% were undecided. Meanwhile, there were also steep declines seen from other top Philippine leaders in the fourth quarter of 2016. The SWS survey results show that Speaker Pantaleon Alvarez suffered the lowest net satisfaction rating of positive 10 from his positive 22 in September, both classified as moderate. Also, the net rating for Supreme Court Chief Justice Maria Lourdes Serreños fell, declining 10 points to a moderate positive 16 this month from a moderate positive 26 last September. As for Senate President Aquilino Pimentel III, he has lost 7 points with a good net satisfaction rating of positive 30 from positive 37 in September.
High-profile inmate J.B. Sebastian has already been placed under the custody of the National Bureau of Investigation. This was confirmed by Justice Secretary Vitaliano Aguirre II. Sebastian's transfer has been processed by his family following a stabbing incident inside the NBP several weeks before he testified against Senator Leila De Lima. More from Juliet Carangian.
High-profile inmate J.B. Sebastian is now in the custody of National Bureau of Investigation. According to Justice Secretary Vitaliano Aguirre, this is because of the threat against Sebastian in his detention cell in National Bilibid prisons. The decision was also made upon constant request by his wife and counsel to transfer him in NBI main office.
Yun ang sinasabi nila na talagang kaso hindi na talaga yung life ni JB, considering na dun sa building 14 ay puro, ang tingin niya, puro mga kalaban niya. I asked the new Bureau Chief, General Bendel de los Santos, about the request. Wala naman siyang he has no objection kasi nakikita nga niya yung condition ni JB doon na meron lang nakaharang na isang parang yung grill dun sa kanyang cell from the others whom he is suspecting as threatening his life.
However, Bureau of Corrections is doing an investigation regarding the matter. Aguirre said if it's not true, he will order to bring him back in NBP.
Continue the investigation, otherwise kung hindi naman totoo, then I'm going to bring him back to NBP or to the previous cell. Kaya tuloy-tuloy lang ito, but this is the arrangement is merely temporary.
Earlier in September, he was stabbed in a riot inside the NBP Building 14. Sebastian is among the leaders in NBP and allegedly the head of Sige-Sige Commando Gang. He testified before the Congress inquiry against Senator Leila De Lima. Sebastian told he gave more than 10 million pesos for Senator De Lima when she was then the DOJ secretary to fund the 2016 elections. He was brought to NBI last night. According to Aguirre, he's complaining his asthma. However, Sebastian is not yet under the Government Witness Protection Program because he is not asking for it, Aguirre said.
Magandang umaga, nagbabalik ang PTV Newsbreak. Naglunsad na ng manhunt operation ang PNP Anti-Illegal Drugs Group para sa ikadarakip kina Marine Lieutenant Colonel Ferdinand Marcelino at Chinese national na si Yan Yishu. Ayon kay PNP AIDG Deputy Director for Operations, Senior Superintendent Benjamin Acorda, ang manhunt operation ay isinagawa matapos maglabas ng warrant of arrest ang Manila Regional Trial Court Branch 49 sa kasong may kaugnayan sa illegal na droga. Sa ngayon anya ay nakikipag-ugnayan na sila sa Philippine Navy na siyang mother unit ni Marcelino at umaasa sa agarang pagpapatupad ng batas. Hanggang ngayon ay wala pang natatanggap na surrender feeler ang PNP AIDG mula kay Marcelino o kahit anong pahayag ng pagnanais nitong sumuko. Sa iba pang balita, 3 ang ginamit na improvised explosive device sa naganap na pagsabog sa gitna ng isang laban ng boxing sa Rizal Plaza sa Ilongos, Leyte. Ayon kay Leyte Governor Domenico Petilla,
Batay sa ibinigay sa kanyang inisyal na impormasyon ng mga otoridad, 2 sa mga IED ang sumabog gamit ang cellphone bilang triggering device. Samantalang ang isa ay hindi sumabog at na-defuse ng mga rumesponding tauhan ng Explosive and Ordnance Division Team. Ayon pa kay Petilla, hindi umano bababa sa 30 kataong nasugatan at ang 2 dito ay nasa critical na kondisyon.
Moving on from Afghanistan to Syria, the incoming administration of President-elect Donald Trump will face many military challenges in 2017, but not all of its problems will be coming from abroad. Pentagon correspondent Carla Babb explains.
On the cusp of 2017, the U.S. is still involved in wars against Islamic extremists in Afghanistan and Islamic State militants in Iraq and Syria. The tactical fight against Islamic State militants is slowly progressing, but it is unclear yet how involved the incoming Trump administration will be in resolving the Syrian crisis.
In Syria, we have really no strategy for ending the civil war. Mr. Trump implicitly may be willing to let President Assad win the war, but I'm not sure that's really a viable way forward because Assad has so much blood on his hands.
The war for Afghanistan is in its 15th year. International troops have drawn down from about 140,000 in 2011 to fewer than 15,000 troops today. And defense expert Michael O'Hanlon says the new U.S. defense team might want to consider increasing international troop numbers in the short term.
There's no reason we have to avoid doing a little more if that helps take some of the pressure off the Afghan military and police, gives them a little more time to build themselves up, to recover from the huge losses they've been taking.
But while the U.S. has been fighting extremism across the globe, major powers Russia and China have been modernizing their military forces.
Because we've been so focused on prosecuting operations against ISIS, stabilizing Afghanistan and Iraq, and because we've been living under the constraints of the Budget Control Act since 2012, we haven't been able to buy the modern equipment that it takes to counter these new capabilities that countries like Russia and China are fielding.
Trump, in his stump speeches, has been promising a military buildup.
We have the greatest people in the world in our military. We are going to rebuild our depleted military, and we're going to finally take care of our great veterans.
Ochmanek says the U.S. needs to spend its money on things like cruise missiles and air-to-air missiles, because he says those are the things that can give the military more leverage to deter threats.
Magandang umaga, nagbabalik ang PTV Newsbreak. Nilinaw ng Armed Forces of the Philippines na wala pang naitatalang kumpirmadong nasawi sa pagsabog na naganap sa Hilongos, Leyte. Ayon kay AFP spokesperson Brigadier General Restituto Padilla, ang lahat ng nasugatan sa pagsabog sa isang plaza sa Hilongos ay pawang ginagamot na ngayon sa ospital. Dalawaan niya sa mahigit 30 nasugatan ay seryoso ang kondisyon. Umaasa rin ang AFP na merong CCTV camera sa lugar para makatulong sa kanilang investigasyon. Samantala, sinabi naman ni Hilongos Leyte Mayor Albert Villahermosa na ligtas lahat at ginagamot sa ospital ang mga nasugatan, taliwas sa mga naunang ulat na merong 10 nasawi. Sa iba pang balita, determinado ang Department of Labor and Employment na wakasan ang sistema ng ENDO o End of Contract. Ito'y matapos lagdaan ni Labor Secretary Silvestre Bello ang bagong DOLE Department Order na nagsasaad na hindi na uubra ang ENDO sa mga kooperatiba at manpower agencies. Batay sa bagong polisiya, hindi na pinapayagan ang pag-terminate ng serbisyo ng isang manggagawa pagkatapos ng kanyang service agreement sa kumpanya. Dahil dito, inaasahan ni Bello na marami ng manggagawa ang mareregular at magwawakas na rin ang mga illegal contractual employment. Para matiyak na mga legitimate contractors lamang ang makakagawa ng mga contracting arrangement, itinaas ng DOLE sa 5 milyong piso ang capital requirement mula sa dating 3 milyong piso. Inatasan din ang mga contractor na magbigay ng financial assistance sa mga empleyado na naghihintay ng bagong assignment ng hanggang 3 buwan.
Tumaas ang bilang ng mga naitalang kaso ng Zika virus sa bansa. At ayon kay Health Secretary Paulino Bial, umabot na sa 52 ang nagpositibo sa Zika virus. nasa edad 7 hanggang 59 years old na nagkakaroon ng naturang virus kung saan 30 o 65% dito ay mga kababaihan, 4 o 7% naman mga buntis. At kamakailan lamang bago magpasko ay nanganak ang isang taga Las Piñas. Solid monitoring ng Department of Health, maayos at normal naman ang kondisyon ng sanggol. Ngunit mahigpit pa rin itong binabantay ng mga doktor para makita kung may mga senyales ang bata ng abnormalidad. Ang 4 na buntis ay naitala sa lungsod Quezon, Las Piñas, Laguna at Cebu.
Monitoring pa rin yung ating mga patients because as we all know that this is a very new, shall we say, phenomena in our health system. So we really don't know when the manifestations will come out and how we will be developing in terms of the spread of the Zika virus.